Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call a hearing to order. Acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and then the traditional lands of the Ojibwe, Cree, Dakota people, and then the national homelands of the Red River Métis. The drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Ron Merritt. I'll be your chairperson this morning. Introducing the panel members. To my right, Carrie Linkletter, and to her right is Gisela Rempel. The assessor from the city of Winnipeg is Roddy Pontanella, and our recording secretary is Jaswin Kumar. This morning we'll be hearing an application for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested has been described in each application, and we will limit discussions to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn in testimony, and anybody speaking in these matters must be sworn in. Please be advised that comparisons of assessment properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The board is appointed annually by City Council and is independent of it, along with the city administration. We make our decisions based on the evidence provided at this hearing and issue a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decision in respect to application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to application from exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the board's order. In respect to the hearing this morning, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have. It'll be then the applicant's testimony, followed by questions. Each party will have the opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all evidence about the application is brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket this morning. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live stream recorded and will be part of the public record. This morning we'll be dealing with items 1 to 8 on the docket. Mr. Kumar, can you please affirm or swear in the assessor and the applicant, which is Mr. Reimer?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Roddy Pontanella.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Terry Reimer.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's familiar with the routine, so we'll first hear from the assessor, and the property we will deal with is 3660 Portage Avenue. Mr. Pontanella, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so the first file we have on the docket is 22-3446. The roll number is 0720-861-3500. The address is 3660 Portage Avenue. The 2023 assessed value had gone out at $6,292,000. And I do have a recommendation to make on this file. So if I can direct your attention to page 9 of my brief. We do have the income stream labeled as a retail warehouse, RWC. We do have 3 premises on the income stream. We have the first premise is 37,440 square feet at $10.36 a square foot. That's a retail warehouse. The second component is a storage mezzanine space, and we have it at 15,360 square feet at $4.61 a square foot. And the third premise we have is a storage mezzanine as well at 1,024 square feet at $5.57 a square foot. It gives us a total potential rent of $464,392. We have applied model parameters on that income stream, and we do have a original value of $6,292,000. For the recommendation, we have maintained the first rent rate at $10.36 a square foot. On the second premise, we have adjusted that rent rate. So that's 15,360 square feet. It's now at $2 a square foot. And then on the third premise, we have 1,024 square feet at the same rate of $5.57 a square foot. We have model vacancy of 4%, model shortfall of $6.50, model expense of 3%, and we've slightly adjusted the cap rate to 6.75%. And that gives us a revised value of $5,646,000.
Mr. Reimer, are you in agreement with that, sir?
We're in agreement with 5,646,000. Yep.
Okay. Panel members, any questions of the assessor's recommendation?
I have no questions. No questions.
Okay. All right, so be it. That takes care of that property, so we'll go to the next one, which is 1315 St. James Street. Mr. Fontanella,
Yeah.
whenever you're ready.
Give me 1 second. I'm just opening up my files here. Okay, so next on the docket, we have file 22-2488. Roll number is 1300-066-0000. The address is 1315 St. James Street. The 2023 assessed value had gone out at $21,102,000. And I do have a recommendation to make on this file as well. So if you can turn to page 8 of my brief, I'll give you a second to get there. We do have one premise on the income stream. We have 137,862 square feet at $11.21 per square foot. That gives us a total potential rent of $1,545,433. We have applied model parameters of 4% vacancy, 3% expense, and $6.50 shortfall per square foot to give us a net operating income of $1,403,264. And then we have applied a cap rate of 6.65% to come up with our original assessment of $21,102,000. So on the recommendation, we have maintained the rent rate at $11.21 a square foot. We have 4% vacancy, model vacancy. We do have the model shortfall, model expense, and the same net operating income. And the adjustment was made to the cap rate. We increased the cap rate to 7%. And the final value, the revised assessment is $20,047,000. $20,047,000.
Mr. Reimer?
And we're in agreement with the value of $20,047,000. Thank you.
Panel members, any questions?
I have no questions.
Ladies?
I just have one question. Mr. Pontinia, you reduced the cap rate because of,
We had increased the cap rate. We just did an internal study on it. We did a review from the previous cap rate, just some internal studying, just taking a look at the file and deemed that a 0.35% cap rate was warranted on this subject.
all right, I thank you.
0.35% increase.
Okay, I thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the next property, which is 1750 Ellis Avenue. And I understand there might be a slight non-co-op issue. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that is the one.
all right. So the floor is yours for the time being.
Okay, just give me one
So
second.
you are seeking the non-co-op. Ready?
Just give me 1 second. I'm just orienting myself
Yeah.
in the files here.
Yep.
I will let you know in 1 second. It does appear that we are seeking the non-co-op on this file.
Mr. Reimer,
If
are
I
you
could
aware
have,
of the non-co-op?
if I can have a moment, Mr. Chairman, it is in the assessor's evidence and I'm reviewing it right now. I hadn't realized this was an issue in this case.
Okay.
In the rush of things, so if I could just have a minute.
Do you want to take 5?
Would you mind?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call the hearing back to order, and we're dealing with 1750 Ellis Avenue. And before us, the city of Winnipeg is seeking a non-co-op issue. Mr. Reimer is representing this property, so we'll turn it over to Mr. Reimer for the time being.
I do not have anything to place before this board in reply to the assessor's request based on the information I've got, and I'll leave it in the board's capable hands to make a decision on this issue.
All right. So with that, we have to pause for a couple minutes. All right, thank you. We'll call the hearing back to order. Roddy, just for the record, we'd like you to state, the non-co-op issue.
Okay.
All right.
Second here to. Okay, so I guess I'll just start with the initial introduction of the file, and then I'll go through the non-cooperative section of it.
Sure.
So the file is 22-3258. The roll number is 0700-208-0000. The address is 1750 Ellis Avenue. The 2023 assessed value had gone out at $8,646,000. And in regards to the non-cooperation, if we can turn to page 12 of my brief. We do have the document that was provided to the department by Canada Post, showing that the item had gone out and was delivered June 10th. And then if we look at that tracking number at the top there, LP 657-132-645-CA. If we look at the cover letter of the mailer that would have been sent out to the subject, you can look at the top, it has the same tracking number, LP 657-132-645-CA. And so that tracking number indicates to us that it was the mailer that had been delivered. And I believe the rest of the brief just shows the documents that would have been in the original mailing of the income and expense mailer to the subject.
I thank you, sir. We just wanted to get that, into the record. And we have made a decision based on Mr. Reimer's, not in objection. So the applicant will do their presentation first, and the non-co-op will be granted to the city. So, Mr. Reimer, the floor is yours.
So if I could ask the board members to turn to page, turn to page 2 of our submission. This is it's the Dufresne Furniture store located at 1750 Ellis. It's at the corner of King Edward Street and Ellis Avenue. Leasable area is 60,035 square feet. Notwithstanding, if you look towards the bottom of page 2, notwithstanding our requested value of $7,450,000, I can advise the board that the assessor and we have come to an agreement as to a revised value for the property. That revised value is $7,569,000, and that is the request, the revised request that we're asking the board to consider this morning. in lieu of the original request of $7,450,000 in our brief. I'd ask the board to perhaps consider Mr. Pontanilla got some revised calculations, if you might want to share them with the board to confirm how he has, or the department, I should say, has calculated the revised value. I'm happy to do it as well, but I'm guessing my methodology is slightly different. So I'll leave that with whatever the board wants to do that way.
So your figure then is a recommendation by the city of Winnipeg of $7,569,000.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, okay, that is your presentation. Mr. Assessor, do you have any questions in regards to Mr. Reimer's presentation?
I don't. So, the issue
Okay,
with this
I'll just see if there's any members, panel members, any questions at all in regards to, because then we'll go back to the assessor and you can take us through the recommendation on this property. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I was about to, as I was about to say, sorry, me and Mr. Reimer have been in talks, and we did come up with a revised value, but we deal with so many files. This one must have slipped my mind too in regards to the non-cooperation, but it is there, and it was part of the presentation. However, with that being said, we do have a revision to be made on the income stream. So if I can direct your attention to page 8 of my brief. I'll give you a second to get there. So originally on the income stream, we had 60,035 square feet at $10.95 per square foot. We do have model parameters in place of 4% vacancy, 3% expense, and a $6.50 per square foot shortfall, which gives us a net operating income of $596,546. And then we applied a 6.9% cap rate to come up with our original value of $8,646,000. For the recommendation, we did do a slight adjustment on the rental rate. So after a review and taking a look at different factors, we did reduce the rental rate slightly from $10.95 to $10.14 per square foot. As well, we do have a yeah, you know what? This might actually yeah, we did have some adjustments in place here. So $10.14 was the square footage adjustment. It looks like some of the parameters had been adjusted as well. So 6% was the vacancy that was adjusted on this one, $7 for the shortfall, and a 7% cap rate it was adjusted to give us a revised value of $7,569,000.
I thank you, sir. So Mr. Reimer, you are in agreement with the recommendation?
I am, yes.
All right, panel members, any questions in regards to the recommendation by the city?
I'm just wondering, you said you revised the cap rate.
I did.
And what did you revise the cap rate to?
7% from the original 6.9, so it was a 0.1% adjustment. There was just a slight adjustment overall on the income stream on this after a look at the subject property itself.
Thank you.
Carrie, any questions?
Mr. Pontanilla, you also increased the vacancy from 4% to, I didn't get that number.
6%, 2%.
6%. Okay.
And then the shortfall was slightly increased to $7 as well.
Okay. So these adjustments, was this due to the effect that COVID had on this property?
That was part of it. And then there were some other indicators as well that just led me to believe that these adjustments needed to be made on the subject itself. So it was just to keep the increase more in line with what I felt was appropriate for the subject.
Okay. Thank you. That's all my questions.
I have nothing further. So That finishes off that one, so we'll go to the 1725 Ellis Street. Floor is yours, Roddy.
Okay, just give me 1 second, open up my files here. All right, so the next item on the docket is file 22-1420. The roll number is 0700-185-4200. The address is 1725 Ellis Avenue. The 2023 assessment had gone out at $8,795,000. And I do have a recommendation to make on this file as well. So if we can turn to page 8 of my brief, there are 2 premises associated with the income stream. We have one premise at 60,702 square feet at $8.95 a square foot. And we have another premise at 14,000 square feet at $9.91 a square foot. It does give us a total potential rent of $682,023. We have applied the model parameters of 4% vacancy, 3% expense, and $6.50 per square foot for a shortfall to give us a net operating income of $615,677, which we've then applied a 7% cap rate to bring us to our original value of $8,795,000. So if you just give me 1 second here. For some reason, some of my files just aren't coming up properly on the computer today. Okay, so the adjustment was made to tamper the rent on the premises, but I can't seem to find my. For some reason, my recommendation form here is not coming up the same as what I had previously. Just give me 1 second here. I do have some other files open. Can I ask the board, can I take a 5-minute recess? I just have to check. Some of the files just aren't coming up right on this computer for some reason. I just have to take a look.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's take, you need 5 or 10?
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes would be good. Just let me get oriented. For some reason, I'm trying to find the files in front and they're not linking, or it hasn't been updated, or something's going on. So I just have to look for the file.
Okay, we'll do 10 and reconvene at 9:41. We'll call a hearing back to order. Roddy, I think the floor is yours right now. So hopefully you got your technical problems out of the way. And
I did. Sorry. Yeah, I was opening up another, I go through so many of these files and I must have saved one in the other folder. And then when I opened it, one came up and I didn't want it to come up. So I had to hunt a little bit, but I did find my recommendation income stream here.
All right.
So I think I'd carried you guys through the original income stream that led us to $8,795,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Adjusted income stream, we did do an adjustment on both the rental rates on each premise. And there were slight adjustments, but they seemed that they were deemed reasonable. So we have 60,702 square feet at $8.53 per square foot. And we have 14,000 square feet at $9.54 per square foot. We've then applied the model parameters of 4% vacancy, $6.50 for shortfall, and 3% expense, and then the cap rate of 7% to give us a revised value of $8,387,000. $8,387,000.
Excuse me. Mr. Reimer, I think
we're in agreement with the 8,387,000.
okay. Panel members, any questions?
I'm just wondering what the total of the revised potential rent would be.
The total for the revised potential rent is $625,294.
Thank you.
Carrie, any questions?
Yes, once again, Mr. Pontinia, what was the basis for this recommendation? Did you inspect the property? You had a discussion with Mr. Reimer or?
No, so what I did is I just reviewed all the files, everything we have on file in relation to it. I took a look at its history. I took a look at where it was. I took a look at the rental rates that we had in place. I took a look at the actuals itself, and all those factors came in to just lead me to believe that the model had just increased the rental rates slightly more than they were deemed warranted, considering all the other factors in place.
Okay.
It was just a way to revise the overall rental rate per square foot, just down to a more I guess acceptable level based on what I saw on the information I looked at.
Because your original brief was all model driven?
It's all model driven, yep.
Okay.
And then sometimes it's hard to get the numbers to behave, so to speak. Like if I make some tweaks to the modeling, it might make it too low, you know? And so there's times where sort of an internal analysis is in place to just try to get a more acceptable rental rate on the premises.
Okay.
So in this case, that seemed more, warranted.
Right. All right. And I thank you. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair.
Right. I think, Reddy, I think you had mentioned a 7% cap on this one.
Yeah, 7% cap.
All right. So we'll move along to the next one on the docket, which is 1333 Sargent Avenue. Mr. Assessor, whenever you're ready.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. Okay, so the file we have currently in front of us is 22-3509. The roll number is 1309-604-4600. The address is 1333 Sargent Avenue. The 2023 assessment had gone out at $17,347,000. And I have a recommendation to make on this file as well. So if we look at the original income stream on page 8, I'll give you just a second to get there. So originally we have on the income stream 3 premises. We have one premise at 86,404 square feet at $13.75 per square foot. We have 3,677 square feet at $7.17 per square foot. And then we have a third premise at 3,096 square feet at $7.25 a square foot. That does give us a potential rent of $1,236,865. And then we've applied the model parameters for vacancy of 4%, the expense rate of 3%, and the shortfall of $6.50 to give us our net operating income of $1,127,542, which we then applied a model based cap rate of 6.5% to give us our assessed value of $17,347,000. For the recommendation, I have maintained the modeled rental rates as they seemed reasonable. We do have the vacancy of 4% in place, the shortfall of $650, and the other expense at 3%. And then what I've adjusted is the cap rate. So originally it was 6.5%, and my recommendation is for 6.85%. So a 0.35% increase on the cap rate to give us a revised value of $16,460,000. $16,460,000.
Mr. Reimer, are you in agreement?
We are in agreement with the value of $16,460,000. Thank you.
Ms. Rempel, any questions?
Could you just repeat for me what you changed the cap rate to?
It was the cap rate was changed to 6.85.
Thank
so
you.
A 0.35% increase.
Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Linkletter, any questions?
Yes. Once again, Mr. Pontinia, this was a model-driven brief, correct?
Yeah, it was all model-driven. The 6.5% model was all model-driven. But again, sometimes you look at the history of these files and you see, when you look at the bigger picture and you might wonder, what was the cap rate for this cycle? Could it have been adjusted slightly? In my opinion, it could have been adjusted just upwards by 0.35%. So that's where my recommendation was to make an adjustment on it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna delve a little deeper. So what made you move the cap rate up?
So if
In
you just give
regards
me a
to the
second, I'm
file?
looking at my. So when I took a look at the market data that we had for those for that particular neighborhood, I did see that there was a cap rate spread there. I didn't really put it in my brief, so I don't really want to include it as new evidence per se, but it just led me to believe that the cap rate did seem like it was a little bit low for this cycle. And so it just led me to believe that, you know, like a 0.35% isn't a huge movement on the cap rate, but it was enough to kind of tamper the value down to a more reasonable increase.
All right, I thank you. That's all my questions.
I have no questions. Thank you. So we'll move on to the next property, which is 1695 Ellis. Roddy, the floor is yours.
Okay, 1 second here. All right. Okay, so the file we have currently in front of us is 22-3453. The roll number is 0700-136-6500. The address is 1695 Ellis Avenue. The 2023 assessment had gone out at $3,026,000. And I do have a recommendation on this file as well. It seems like I'm full of recs today, but this is where this docket took me. So if we look at this original income stream on page 8, we do have one C1 retail warehouse premise at 19,740 square feet at $11.39 a square foot. It does give us a potential income of $224,839. There was a 4% vacancy in place, a 3% expense rate, and a $6.50 per square foot shortfall rate, which brings us to a net operating income of $204,238. And then we have a cap rate applied of 6.75%. So for my recommendation, I took a look at the subject's income and expense mailer information, along with some other documents, but mainly it was that one. And it led me to revise our rental rate on the subject property slightly. So the rental rate that I had applied is $10.26 per square foot, and that's at 19,740 square feet. And we do have the model parameters in place of a 4% vacancy, $6.50 per square foot shortfall, and 3% expense rate. And then that gives us a revised net operating income of $183,466. And we then apply the 6.75% cap rate on that to give us a revised value of $2,718,000. And I don't believe I said it, but if you wanted to know, the revised total potential rent is $202,532.
Mr. Reimer, are you in agreement?
We do agree with the revised suggested value of $2,718,000. Thank you.
Mr. Rempel, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Ms. Linkletter?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Roddy, I just noticed that there was a sale on the property in 2017 for $2,700,000.
Yep, I believe there was one in place there. Let's take another look again at my brief here.
All right.
Yes, we do have a sale in 2017 for $2,700,000.
So we'll go on to the next one, which is 2535 McPhillips.
Okay, just give me 1 second here.
Give us a chance to get there and
No problem. This one's going quick today, I guess.
yeah. All right, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, just open up my files here. Okay, so the next item that we have on the docket is file 22-2079. The roll number is 0500-924-1200. The address is 2535 McPhillips Street. The 2023 assessment had gone out at $5,175,000. And I do have a recommendation to make on this file. So if we can turn to page 8 of the brief, or sorry, page 9 of the brief. So we can see the income stream there. So we do have two premises on the income stream. We have one premise at 24,367 square feet at $11.38 per square foot. And then we have another 7,000 square foot premise at $12.45 per square foot. That does give us a potential rent of $364,446. We have applied all model parameters of 4% vacancy, 3% expense, and $6.50 per square foot for a shortfall to give us a net operating income of $331,217. And then for this cycle, the cap rate applied was 6.4% to give us a assessed value of $5,175,000. For this file, I took a look at the, as always, I took a look at all the indicators that I look at in conjunction with the recent mailer and the information in regards to the COVID shutdown. You know, there was a lot of factors that went into this file when I was doing my review. And so for the income stream, I left the rental rates the same. So we still have $11.38 per square foot for 24,367 square feet. And then we do have another premise at 7,000 square feet at $12.45 per square foot. I have kept the 4% vacancy, $6.50 per square foot shortfall, and 3% expense rate. And the cap rate was increased. So the original cap rate was 6.4%, and I have increased to a recommended 7%, which gives us a revised value of $4,732,000.
And what was the cap rate again?
7% was the revised cap rate, up from 6.4%.
Okay. Mr. Reimer, are you in agreement?
We're in agreement with the revised value of $4,732,000. Thank you.
Trimble?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Ms. Letter?
I have no questions.
Just offhand, Roddy, does that, I guess this is the Shapes building. Does that encompass the other building beside it too, or not?
Yeah, so those are the two premises on the income stream. One was used as a, I believe it was an auto parts store, but I think they might have closed during the pandemic, or they moved. And then the other one was the Shapes, which is a big gym that they have there, and that also suffered a lot of the consequences of that. So,
right. So we'll go to the last one, which is 2366 McPhillips. Roddy, the floor is yours, sir.
Give me 1 second here to. Okay, so the next file that we have on the docket, or item that we have on the docket, sorry, is file 22-3438. The roll number is 0500-914-3600. The address is 2366 McPhillips Street. The 2023 assessment had gone out at $5,028,000. And I actually, unsurprisingly, have a recommendation to make on this one as well. So if we go to page 8 of my brief, I'll give you a second to get there. Okay, so we do have the original income stream at 30. We have three premises. The first premise is 30,200 square feet at $10.43 per square foot. For the second premise, we have 1,489 square feet at $5.38 per square foot. And then for the third premise, we have 10,800 square feet at $4.69 per square foot. So that does give us a total potential rent of $373,649. We have applied model parameters in place of 4% vacancy, 3% expense, and $6.50 per square foot shortfall to give us a net operating income of $336,895, which we've then applied a 6.7% cap rate on it to give us a value of $5,028,000. So for the recommendation for this file, I have slightly reduced the rental rate on the third premise on the income stream. So we do have the original 30,200 square feet at $10.43 per square foot. And then we have 1,489 square feet at $5.38 per square foot. And then we have 10,800 square feet at $3 per square foot. So that's where the revisement was for $3. It gives us a new total potential rent of $355,397. I have applied model parameters of 4% vacancy, $6.50 per square foot shortfall, and a 3% expense to give us a net operating income of $319,898. And then we have the original cap rate of 6.7% to give us a revised value of $4,775,000.
Marty, can you repeat that number, please?
The final value was $4,775,000.
You. Mr. Reimer, are you in agreement?
No, actually, we've got a ways to go in this one.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so if I can take you back to page 2 of my brief. We do have our pad eye view image of the subject property to show its orientation on McPhillip Street. Following that, we do have the overhead view in our pictometry imagery that shows the subject property. We do have a north-facing view following that of the subject property, followed by an east-facing view of the subject property there. And then we have our Google Street View images of the subject property in question. We have received income and expense mailer information for the subject property. We don't have any sales history on the subject property, and we don't have any leases in place. For my rental comparables, I did include a spread of different comparables that were admittedly not all within the same neighborhood, but they're all the same property type. So they're all retail warehouse properties. And then we do have a spread there from $11, I believe, at the lower end up to $18 at the higher end. We have gone through the income stream. So I guess I can just sum it up that we had a total potential rent of $373,649. Model parameters in place, and then we've applied a 6.7% cap rate to give us a revised value of $5,028,000. And then on page 9, we just have a summary of the income value that we have just spoken about. On page 10, we do have a cap rate study information that we have there. And then on page 11, we have some Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. And then following that on page 12 and taking us to the end of the brief, we have the the subject's income and expense mailer information. And that is my presentation.
I thank you, sir. Mr. Reimer, questions of the assessor?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I only have a couple. Mr. Pontinia, can we go to your page 8, please, briefly? So the 10,800 square foot premise that's shown on this page, that is the unheated, pardon me, the unheated unheated storage area, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Now, when we look at the comparables you got on page 7, I gather none of these comparables have any unheated storage areas associated with them?
From the looks of it, it doesn't seem to be so. Again, I just chose them based on the property type just to try to get some somewhat comparable, comps to use.
Certainly. I mean, I'm familiar with these addresses. I guess I'd suggest, Mr. Pontinia, that none of these, I'm pretty certain, have unheated storage areas. But so with the subject, now you've also attached the owner's response to the department's request for information. So if we turn then to your page 14, this is of course the McMahon and Yates store on McPhillips. So there was a 4-year lease renewal that started in January 1st of 2018, correct?
And that appears to be so, correct?
Okay, and the rental income, if we then move up to page 12, total net rent being achieved, pardon me, being achieved was 320, just under 323,000, 322,875.
That's correct.
Okay, now did that rent, admittedly it was negotiated prior to the reference date, but we're not that far off the reference date, but I take it that rent really wasn't considered in any substantial way when the department was preparing this assessment, and also when you were preparing your suggested revisions to the value, correct?
I wouldn't say it wasn't taken in any way. I did take a look and I got the overall price per square foot from what they were saying there at $7.88. And then when I looked at my revised price per square foot, $8.36 per square foot, that didn't seem very much far off. So I definitely was using the income and expense mailer information in my analysis.
Sure. So I guess I'd suggest, Mr. Pontinia, that given the fact that basically 25% of the space is unheated cold storage with a very nominal rental value, and I appreciate the recommendation you made. I guess I'd suggest that these types of, and this isn't the only McMahon in the city, there's 3 of them actually that have similar arrangements with similar amounts of unheated storage. The ability of the landlord to achieve net rent with that significant proportion of unheated storage, you agree it's certainly less than a typical retail warehouse where there's no unheated storage affiliated with it, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But again, I did use an overall approach. I took a look at the total price per square foot. I took a look at what the model originally had predicted, and then where we can make an adjustment on it.
Certainly.
So if a further adjustment needs to be on that one premise to account for that, if the board feels that way, that's up to their prerogative. But that was taken into account. No, I did look at all that stuff.
Certainly. All right. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. It's just before I forget, Mr. Pontinia, the rest, and you alluded to this, I believe, the rest of the valuation, pardon me, vacancy at 4% through to the 3% total non-recoverable shortfall in cap rate, those are model-driven parameters, correct?
That's correct. They're all model-driven in this scenario.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Rempel, the questions of the assessor?
I'm just wondering, could you please really reiterate for me which of the income streams is the cold storage area, the unheated cold storage area?
Yeah, no problem. It's the 10,800 square foot premise. So I believe that's the 3rd premise on the income stream.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's the one that's the unheated.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Think better.
Mr. Pontinia, page 10 of your brief that gives your cap rate chart.
Yep.
Where does your cap rate fall on this?
Well, again, this is one of those scenarios where it's not really, if we look at our retail section, we have strip malls, power center, neighborhood shopping centers, and then regional shopping centers. We actually don't have the RWC, the retail warehouse component. So we're lacking again in that, which always seems to be the bane of my presentations when we enter the cap rate discussion. But with that being said, again, if we can look at strip, I would say that I wouldn't call them by any means neighborhood shopping centers. They're way too small for that. They don't have the components necessary. Strip mall isn't ideal because it is a different retail type with the different commercial rental units side by side. But 6% to 6.8% for that one. It looks like 6.7% is right within the, it's within that 20th and 80th percentile. So again, it's not the exact property type, but that's the best I can answer that.
And I thank you. That's all my questions.
What? That's the 10,800 square feet unheated. Is that at the back of the building or?
You know what? I didn't visit it. I didn't inspect the site, so
Yeah.
maybe Mr. Reimer could illuminate that more for you. I read the notes. I believe my understanding is that it is towards the rear, but Mr. Reimer might know better.
Okay. Okay, I thank you. Mr. Reimer, the floor is yours, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. And yes, I do believe it's, actually, I haven't been out there for years, but I think it's at the rear of the site. It is still, notwithstanding its unheated storage, it's, pardon me, still included as part of the leasable area under the lease, but it certainly, because of the, as the board and Mr. Pontinia, as you can appreciate, that is going to fetch a much lower overall rent than your standard retail warehouse space, hence the lower overall rate for the entire area, including that unheated storage. So this now distills to actually, there's still some gap in the potential net market rent that's being applied by Altus Group and by the department based on Mr. Pontinia's revised valuation. The other aspect, pardon me, that is still at issue is the 5% non-recoverable allowance. I'm going to be very brief this morning on those points. The cap rate, we're actually remarkably close. The department's got 6.7. We're suggesting 6.75. Excuse me. So if I can ask the board and Mr. Pontinia to turn to page 13 of our evidence in chief, please. So on page 13, you can see an income approach, and this confirms what I've already alluded to. The premise in this case, 42,489 square feet, includes a mezz area of 1,489 and that unheated storage area that I spoke of 10,800 square feet. The actual, under the January 2018 renewal for this space was based upon a total annual income of 322,875, and we certainly suggesting in no uncertain terms, this represents the best evidence, pardon me, best evidence of rents achievable for a blended rate for the entire area of 42,489. We did have reference to the comparables shown at the bottom of page 13 as well. There's a total of 7 comparables there now. Indices 2, 3, and 6, and 6 is the subject property, are the McLennan Yates properties that all have significant unheated lumber storage components. And as you can appreciate, and as I mentioned, the rental rates are lower, but it's for that very reason that the unheated storage is a significant portion of space in each of those premises. So I looked at it a little differently just to give the board a sense of if one were to sort of try and provide an allocation, a more true allocation of the total rent over the actual retail warehouse space, the mezzanine area, and the unheated. And as you can see at the bottom of page 13, with the 322,875, I've got slightly higher with rounding there, but it's consistent with the application of a net rent of $940 a square foot for the retail warehouse, $465 for the mezz, and $3 for the unheated storage. And certainly we believe that's appropriate. So then moving on to the non-recovered expenses, and as I mentioned, I'm going to be very brief. The board, these board members and Mr. Pontini have heard this repeatedly over the past few years. So we continue to believe that the 5% is an appropriate allowance for the reasons set forth in the submission that we've included with the board. The 5% we believe is very well grounded in appraisal theory. The 5% we believe is very it was very clear in some of the historical documents from the City of Winnipeg Assessment Department that they were considering the 5% to be unrecoverable expenses, even in situations with net leases, which is precisely what we're saying. Importantly, our capitalization rate analysis includes the application of the 5% non-recoverable expense allowance. If the 5% is reduced to 1%, as the department appears to have done with most, if not all, properties for this cycle, the mathematical effect on capitalization rate is roughly between 30 and 35 basis points. And so our request, if the board were to reduce the allowance from 5% to 1%, that would have the effect of our request increasing on capitalization rate by 25 basis points. So as far as capitalization rate in and of itself, as I've said, we're very, very close. Ours does include still the 5% non-recoverable allowance. We do have 2 retail warehouse transactions included in the capitalization rate analysis that we've done. One was actually, they're both on Ellis Avenue, and they were at capitalization rates of between 6.72%, consistent with the assessment, and 7.39%, somewhat higher than the assessors applied, and quite frankly higher than we've applied. So we certainly believe the 6.75% is borne out in this case. So subject to any questions, Mr. Chairman, those are my comments this morning. Thank you.
I thank you. Questions of the applicant? Roddy?
I have no questions.
Mr. Rempel?
I don't know, maybe this is really inappropriate, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. And Mr. Chair, you can tell me whether it is or not. I'm looking at the McMunnon Yates property that we looked at as number 1 today, which is at 3660 Portage Avenue, which is a couple of years older or younger, pardon me, or more recent than this property. And when we take a look at the breakdown, I am wondering where the cold storage is in that particular, the unheated cold storage is in that particular property. If it's number 2, then I think we were looking at a rental rate of $461 for that particular space. If it's number 3, it was $557 per square foot. So I'm wondering.
So the unheated cold storage space, and I've pulled up and Mr. Pontonia, if you have different thoughts, please let me know. In that case, the unheated storage, I should say, area is 10,000 square feet at 3660 Portage.
And what was the square foot rental for that?
That I applied or that department applied?
That the department applied.
Okay, Mr. Pont, kindly that with you. Yeah.
If Mr. Rammer needs, I can interject with that question.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to speak for you, Mr. Pontonia, if you might answer that.
Yeah, no worries. No, that's definitely directed my way. So on that particular stream, the cold storage is actually the 15,360 square foot unit or premise, sorry. And that one was originally $4.61, and the adjustment made there was to reduce it to $2 per square foot. So 15,360 square feet at $2 per square foot, sorry. And then this current one that we're speaking of, I believe it was 10,000 and change or 10,000 even square feet at $3 per square foot. So there's also an economy of scale that's going on there as well.
Okay, thank you very much. That's my question.
I thank you. Ms. Linkletter?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would actually like to redirect to the assessor, if I may. Mr. Pontonia, I know that you gave us revised numbers on this property. What was your revised NOI though?
My revised net operating income is $319,898. $319,898.
I thank you. That is all my questions.
I have none. Either party wants summation?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, though. I hope Carrie gets better.
Yeah.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Assessor,
Poor Terry, you know, you
Assessor.
gotta show up for these things. It's tough when you do our job. You can't call in sick, you know, like I understand. My kids got sick the last couple of weeks. I still have to work on these files. I gotta push through without sleep, whatever, you know, so I understand them. I'm going through the same, really.
Roddy, thank you very kindly for your presentations.
No problem.
Mr. Reimer, thank you very kindly.
you.
Get rid of your cold and, you know, get to bed, I think. So, and results very soon.
Thank you very much.
We have heard all the items scheduled and this hearing is now adjourned.